I've finished making the form that will go underneath these louvers so I can push them up. It's taken a while just to get the shape right on the ends, so I've just done that on the linisher. So now what I need to do is get behind this panel and tap them up, but it's going to be this stage a two-person job, because I really think I need to put a support over the top there so I've got something to tap it into. If I don't put anything on the top there, it's, you know, there's a fair bit of flex in the panel, so it's not going to go as well as something on the top there holding the top still while I tap from underneath. This fits in quite nicely, so it took a while to get that right, but I basically push it up. Just try and get in behind there, not that you can see, it's in behind this one, so it fits in nicely. There's enough dowel on the rear end there to be able to tap that up, but as I say, I need something, maybe this plate here over the top while I tap that from underneath. So anyway, two-person job. I just need to get some assistance or have three hands. Now I've started work on the louvers and I've had some interesting results, and I'm actually changing a little bit the way I was advised to do it. Now I made my form, that's it there. That's good because that enables me to test which louvers are actually depressed, and what I've found was it was this one, this one, this one, this one and this one were actually pushed down in the centre. Now I used the dowel to knock this bend up. Now I found that the way I was doing it, I couldn't get it all the way up. It certainly came up a long way. Now the example of that is, this is one I've almost finished. I've got more work to do on this, and I'll tell you what I've done with that. This one was depressed as much as these, so it's probably, just get a rule on that. It's probably dropped down a bit over 1/8 of an inch in the centre there. Same with that one, maybe a bit more. This was the same, and so was that. This one's almost back to where it should be, just a bit of fine adjustment on the edge. This one is just been knocked up with the dowel, so it's come up a long way, but it's still not coming all the way up. Now what I found is that when I knocked it up with the dowel, I just couldn't get it all the way. What I've been doing is obviously knocking from the rear, and I've used basically this piece of steel to use as a support so I could knock it up onto that steel, so it gives it some something to knock into. So that one's almost perfect. A little bit of adjustment, not much. This one's down a long way. I haven't started on that. Now I mentioned that I was going to use two people, and I probably still will. I've done this on my own so far. I've got it to that stage, but it still requires a little bit of adjustment. It would be better if I had someone to help me. Now, the reason I haven't asked for someone to help is that it takes a long time to get these depressions up, and I don't mind asking people to help, but it's alright for me to sit out here for hours while I'm knocking things up and adjusting things as I go, but to get someone to stand here and hold a dolly or something on the other side for that length of time, I think is asking a bit too much. I mean, this is my interest, not the interest of other people. So what I've done is that I've worked a way I can do most of this on my own. Now, I'll show you what I've done, but I need to take a shot from the rear of this to show you how I actually hold this in place to enable me to free up both hands to tap it up. So I'll just reposition the camera and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, so what I've done is I've held the dowel in place with this arrangement. Magnets on the bottom, magnets on the top, a steel form over the top of the dowel, which actually has an edge that goes down on the front face here, so it's quite a stiff piece. What I do is I identify where the dowel is riding high on the depression, mark that with chalk, and I'm able to use my steel on the other side to provide support, and using a wooden mallet tap, and I don't hit it very hard, I tap where I've marked the high depression is, and gradually it comes up. As the depression rises, the dowel can move further into the louver because it's only held by the magnets and the plates on either end of this steel, so that can actually move down as the depression on the other side rises. As I said, that gets me most of the way. It doesn't get all of the depression out. To do that, what I have been using is, I'll just put these tools down. I've been using this hammer. As I said, it's got a flat end rounded on there. I've made sure that's rounded enough so it doesn't have any sharp edges. And just on the front one here, when I've got it down enough with the dowel, once again using the plate on the other side, I gradually tap the edge down, and that seems to be able to get it pretty much straight, except for a few minor imperfections, which I then need to get into with a different dolly, which I'll show you, which is this dolly, which is able to come in from the rear, and this is still too high here at the moment, but where there are small imperfections, caught on my magnet. That's the problem with having that sitting there at the moment. Now I'll do it up here. By putting this in, it's got the right shape on the end of the dolly to gradually tap any minor imperfections out from the other side of the panel. So that's what I'm doing. It takes an incredible amount of time, but it seems to be working. So what I'm going to do is something that I'm not going to try and sit here all day tapping away, so I'll just do this in between other jobs, and I'm hoping that given time I can gradually get all of these out. As I say, this is all I've done with this. I'll just move this out. It just comes out, so it's only held in with the magnets. That's how it gives this plate rigidity and enables me to tap that down. So it's a combination of things, starting with the dowel. And the other importance of the dowel is that it enables you to see whether it's straight. When you put it in, it might look straight, but if you put this in, you can actually see where the depressions are. And also if you use a straight edge on the outside, it does the same thing. So combination of things. Most of it I think I can do on my own. The finer adjustments I'll have to get someone out here to hold a, magnets are strong, hold a dolly on the other side while I gently tap and it's mainly the edge where the imperfections will be, right on the edge there, and just gently tap those out. So I'm quite confident I can get the bends in the louver out. This is the right hand inner valance. The air duct, of course, is spot welded to this. It's actually on the other, or would be on the other side. This needs rust repair. Along the top here, needs a new section along there, and also down on the bottom here, it needs more than likely just a new flange all the way along here and cut in a little bit further. In addition to that, it's apart from the rust, it's seen better days. It's bent. All of this is bent in towards the wheel well. It's meant to have a slight curve in here. There is a nice curve there, but it's basically non-existent down here because of all of the dents and so on. So I'll start by trying to straighten this out, see if I can get it straight. I should be able to do that. Once I've done that, once I've got the shape right, then I'll start to fabricate some repair sections. I'm repairing this section first. This is the part that follows the curve of the bonnet. The captive screw plates, I've taken those off. There are 4 in the area that I'm doing. I've worked out how much I'm cutting, so I'm cutting down below the rust line to get some good solid metal. Pre-drilled the repair section and I'll put these in vinegar to clean those up, so they'll be actually welded to the other side once I've welded this in place. On the end here, this actually folds round. I've got a bit of excess on there, so I'll do an initial fold and then gradually fold it round once I've done the welding. So as I said, it's the part that shapes with the bonnet. I've shaped this edge already. I've marked the panel where I need to cut, so the next I'll do is to actually cut this out and then set it up for TIG welding. The repair section's in place. I've done a little bit of planishing, not much. I've still got to clean up the weld. It's fairly straight, this one. I haven't folded the end over yet. I'll wait until I've cleaned the weld up and then fold that. So that's yet to be done. Haven't put the screw plates behind. They're still in a vinegar solution, removing some of the surface rust. So by the time I finish cleaning this up, I'll be ready to weld on. So that's good. The panel still has a bit of work to do to remove the dents and straighten it out a bit more. So that's not too much of a problem. A little bit of work to do on the bottom end here where it's been all bent out of shape. This has a slight curve over, so I've got to continue that curve along, make sure it's a nice neat curve. It goes on an angle like that, so it still has a little bit of work to do at the top. Not worried about that yet because I've got to do the rust repair across the top there, so still a fair bit of work to do on this inner valance. This area here is actually a major rust repair. The flange is rusted out. It's got holes here. There's heavy rust under this plate here, so I really need to remove the plate and change the metal underneath. There are deep rust pits around these holes. There's a hole in here where it's rusted through, and once again more deep rust pits around here. There are holes in here alongside this area where the main underpan bolts on, and it's rusted shallow in around here as well. So I've been looking at making up a repair section. This stage I've got the broad outlines of something. I've still got to refine that. Hopefully I can trim that down a lot more. But it's quite a bit of metal that needs to be replaced. Now I could take the easy option and just replace this bits on the bottom and then put a few additional patches up here, but I really think I need to actually replace a much larger section instead of putting individual patches in. So at this stage I'll work on this design. It's got a fold, of course, along here, and there are the captive screw plates on the bottom there which hold the bottom of the mouth, I guess you'd call it, inside the bonnet. So I've just got to make sure I get it right. I'll cut something out and then feed it up and look at how much I can do in one repair section. I'll mark the general area on the panel that I need to cut out. It will be less than that, but that's the maximum that I would need to take. I've made a repair panel up. It's once again to reflect that larger area. I'll now go through and trim that down a little bit, and I'll mark the area that I'm actually going to cut out on the panel. Now it's probably going to be inside that black line, but I'll just check that. I'll cut that out, clean that up, then feed the new section up behind that, and then scribe on the on the broader blank, the area that I need to refine that to. So it's going to take a while. The area is quite large, and I'm a little bit concerned about how that is going to go when I start welding it. I was thinking about doing it in probably 2 pieces, but I really need to have this bottom edge all replaced in one piece, because it's a flange piece, and I'd rather do it in one go. But anyway, I'll cut it, fit the larger area, and then start to tack it in place, and I'll then see how I'm going to address the TIG welding of all of that. I've trimmed the repair section back to the size that I need, so just finished that, shaping that. So that's the repair section. Just fed that up to the panel, and I've got a little bit of adjustment to do, and once again I'll do the adjustment to the panel. So what I've done is I've clamped that up. I've got a texture mark around the edge of that, and I've actually marked with a scribe where the changes need to be made to the panel itself. So that will be a careful process. Once again, if you take too much off, you can't put it back on, but there's not that much to take off, so I'll sit there with a file and spend some time filing up around this edge. So a little bit down there, mostly it's up and around here. So I can do that with a file. Once that's done, then I'll look at tacking it in place. As I've said, it's going to be difficult to address the distortion, so I'll have to be extremely careful. So I will probably have to planish the weld as I go, rather than try and do a seam all around there and then end up with distortion all over the place. So I'll probably start with a section, planish it, do a bit more, planish it, and take it out as I'm going. So then at least I know if the panel distorts, I'll know it's because of this particular weld, rather than do it all and the panel's warped in all different directions. So hopefully I'll be able to get that done properly. Took me quite a while to get these tacks in place. The repair section is held. I need to go around now and complete the tacking process, but at this stage it's sitting in quite neatly. Now if I'm very careful, I can continue to tack that, and once it's completely tacked, then I'll go ahead and start to seam weld that. So it's taken an incredible amount of time, but I need to be very careful with this, because I'm just concerned that I could end up with some very bad distortion. But so far so good. I'll just keep a steady progress and see how I go. The rust repairs on this section almost complete. I've just got to put a bit of bracing around the front, a little thin strip of bracing welded or spot welded to the other side, so I'll put that back on. The weld went in better than I thought, very little distortion, mainly because I welded it in stages and then planished the weld as I was going. So I do a section like that, planish that, straighten that, and then that, and then that, and then that, and then that. And by doing that, the distortion wasn't sort of compounding itself. And in addition to that, the bracing provided by the flange and that cutout piece, I think, also helps to keep the panel rigid. So anyway, I've done a rough planish all the way around the weld. I haven't cleaned the weld up yet. I'll do that once I've finished this section here, and then I will go ahead and start to take any of the basically dents and other knocks and things out of the panel. It's now quite strong. It wasn't strong before, so I've got a few dents and things around in here that need to be taken out. Got to finish reshaping this area and do some fine work around here as well. Once I've done all of that, then I can look at attaching the air duct, which actually welds in from the other side. That's still doing a final clean up in vinegar. It's as soon as I finish this little piece here, that will be ready to then start looking at repairs, and then finally to attach it to the valance here. So all in all, it's worked out quite well.